Hi, how's everyone doing today? I hope you guys are all doing well. It's Friday. We made it through the week, right? We're almost halfway there through the semester. Um, I'm definitely feeling it. Are you guys able to see my screen first and foremost?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Okay, guys. Well, thank you for joining me today. My name is Emanuel Medina, and my role is a training specialist here at DACC. So I run the virtual learning and instructional technology unit here. And so I help students with Canvas, My Name is You, Office 365, Teams, Outlook, pretty much any of the platforms that they're going to be seeing here. And because of that, I see a lot of their struggles. I work with them a lot with Canvas. And so what we're going to go through today is to see what experience that they're having and what can we do to make that experience smoother. So some of the things that we're going to be covering today is why this matters, the top student struggles, a snapshot of the survey that I had given out and what students want from faculty and some best practices that we can do to accommodate for them as well. So Canvas is the learning hub, right, for our students. This is where they receive all of their work. This is where they're going to see all their course content. And if they struggle to find some assignments, if they're having struggle navigating the course itself, or even understanding how to get feedback from their instructors, it does impact their success. And our goal today is to look at these patterns and to see the feedback that they gave us and try to see if we can get some best practices out there so they can work on this. And this isn't just about the student complaints. It connects to our institutional commitment to online quality assurance, making sure that we give that feedback back to the students, and it all overlaps what we're trying to do with online quality assurance and of course with QM. And as if you can see right here, I have the DACC Canvas requirement. And I wanted to add that there because unfortunately I've seen classes that don't even have these minimum requirements that are have been voted in since 2021, which is, it's a problem, it's an issue. So I did give them a survey, right? And so we had, and you guys can go ahead and scan this if you guys want, so you guys can kind of just see a quick survey snapshot, but I will pull up the survey right now so we can see a little bit of the questions I was asking and just to trying to see what the patterns are and what they were all kind of saying. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing so I can share that other screen. All right. Can you guys see this screen right here?
Yes.
Okay. So I asked them a few questions, right? How often do you use Canvas for the courses? What are the top 3 things that frustrate you the most when using your classes? Which of the Canvas features do you find most confusing or difficult to use, right? Finding assignments, submitting assignments, accessing grades, using discussions, navigating modules, using Canvas on mobile devices, because that's one of the big ones that I see all the time. And when you have trouble with Canvas, what do you usually do? Are you figuring it out yourself? Are you asking a classmate? Are you asking your instructor, or are you contacting tech support? Are you contacting me? Are you contacting IT help desk? Are you contacting academic technology? What is it that you're doing, right? And what is one thing faculty can do in Canvas that would make your experience a little bit easier or less stressful? And then overall, what is your experience using Canvas? So I'll do a quick overview of this. As you can see, 88% of the students see it daily, so which is great, which is really good. Some 11% see it a few times a week, and then this one, of course, I'm baffled by that one person that only sees it once a week, whatnot. So, but of course, that's a preference thing. So what are the top 3 things that frustrate you when using Canvas for your classes? There was a lot of things right here. A lot of them did say nothing, but there was a lot of information that they added in there, and we'll go ahead and dissect that information in a bit. Okay, this is another kind of thing that, just kind of pointed out what's their biggest struggles, right? And of course, using Canvas on mobile devices is a struggle. It is very struggling to use Canvas on mobile devices. So whenever students do come to me and I know they have access to a laptop or a computer or the tutoring center, the computer lab, I do suggest to always go through Canvas that way. That iPads are great, but they just don't do exactly what a computer can do. And sometimes using the Canvas app becomes a struggle itself. The second biggest thing is finding assignments. 17% of them said they have a hard time finding assignments. And I've seen this firsthand where the assignments are not populated in Canvas. It's somewhere hidden within a syllabus. It's somewhere hidden within a link. So of course that's a problem. And navigating modules. I've seen courses that are not built using module systems, right? Again, just only assignments or only links to certain things. And this is another thing that's troubling. When you have trouble with Canvas, what do you usually do? 73% of them figure it out on their own, right? So this tells us a lot of information. This tells us that they probably don't know where tech support is. They are probably shy, or for some other reason, they don't want to ask for help. 16% of them will ask an instructor, which is great, but of course that number should be a little bit higher. The other numbers are also troubling, right? Contact tech support, 3%, which, it breaks my heart because I'm here for the students and I want to help them out. And so anything I can do to help them, I want to go ahead and give them that support. And maybe it's something on my end that I need to improve in, or maybe it's something that needs to be communicated from the start of classes, that if they need help with tech support, that I'm here and I'm available to them. And of course, one thing that faculty can do in Canvas that would make an experience easier or less stressful, a plethora of things, right? Again, some didn't know what to put, but some of them did have some great suggestions in there. And again, we'll dissect those in a bit. And overall, the experience is good. As you can see, we have a 4 out of 5, which is good. I'm glad to see that number. Okay, let me go ahead and stop sharing so I can share the presentation again. Okay, and again, you guys can go ahead and scan this if you want to, just to see a quick snapshot of the surveys that I sent out. Okay, so the top student struggles are organization, finding materials, navigation, submissions, and grades. These are the 5 top things that came out. I know we were looking at 3, but I thought the other 2 were very important as well. Now, these are things that are built in within our quality matter standards. It's built in through our OQA to have this in our classes. And it's not just a nice thing to have, but it's something that helps them out. And we've seen the things that it's done for them. And interesting, this actually aligns with the actual rubric standards. Like, for example, General Standard 1, and then our OQA checklist, it says that we have to have a course overview and introduction, and General Standard 8 with accessibility and usability. So these are things that are already built in and should be used. And again, it's just it's hard to see some of these classes when the students don't have none of this. They don't have organization. The materials are not in their syllabus. They're not in anywhere you can find. They have to find out a different way. And then of course the instructor doesn't reply back to them. And so some of the things that they were saying is that, and I'll go ahead and read some of these, is that the only thing that frustrates me is the way that some professors don't organize their Canvas courses efficiently. So I have to go on a scavenger hunt to look for certain materials in class. Again, I've seen some of this stuff myself where I'm looking at their syllabus. It says the book is somewhere right there, but then I can't find it on Canvas. And then I have to go and look in all these other places. And it's things that myself, I already have that experience, so I kind of know where to look. But they're probably brand new students, this is something frustrating for them. And sometimes it could be a huge downer. And this could be the point where they're like, you know what, probably college is not for me. And this is not something that we want to give out that first impression on. The second one, overall, Canvas itself can be a very useful tool for online courses, as well as for the on-campus courses. However, I find it frustrating at times that basically every time I go into a different course, I have to remember how things are laid out. That is why we have these templates. It's not just so every class looks the same, but it's that way the students don't have to worry about navigating the technology, but rather focusing on the content. And so they have to remember how one thing is in one course and on the other course kind of remember how they're supposed to do things in that one. A lot of them say that submitting assignments and they get frustrated with grades, right? We should have a 48-hour to 72-hour return on some of these grades, so of course, including like holidays and weekends. But these students, that's one of the biggest things I see where students are like, yeah, I got a grade on my paper, but like, I don't know where I messed up. So like, I don't know how to improve this paper. So that's why it's important to have rubrics. And if you're teaching a solely online course, you can have that engagement with them, even if you're not meeting online, with rubrics, with announcements, with messages, making sure that you reply back to them in at least 24 to 48 hours. And all of these things help out with student engagement. And this other student had said that top 3 things that frustrate him the most is when professors decide to solely rely either on Canvas or like WebAssign. I've seen it where a student has nothing on Canvas, just the link to WebAssign, and all the assignments are there, and there's no due dates. So then it's just open the whole time, the whole semester. And so they're struggling because they're like, I don't know if I'm in advance, I don't know if I'm behind, I don't know where I'm at. And then they'll reach out to the instructors, and the instructors are like, oh no, don't worry about it, it's there, just do it. And and it's hard to hear that as a student, right? And it's hard to hear that myself working with students and working with faculty. The last one, lack of instructor participation, right? Again, there's ways to participate in the class, even if it's a solely online class and you don't meet. Using announcements, back to the rubrics, back to commenting on their assignments, sending individualized messages, letting them know kudos if they did something great, or also if there's something that they need to improve on. And so what do students want from faculty? Consistency, clear instructions, prompt grading, tested links and quick replies. And again, these aren't things just nice to have. These align with our standards here at OQA and also with Quality Matters. These are things that help the students just do better overall. So thinking about those things is like, hey, am I being consistent with this one class? Or am I paying attention more to one class than I am to the other one? Am I making sure that my assignments have clear instructions and are using vocabulary that they can understand? That's something that's not going to confuse them. Am I giving them not just grading their assignments, but am I also giving them proper feedback so they can improve on what they're missing, or giving them kudos for something they did great? The tested links is something that I see often where there's links that are to broken pages. A lot of our websites had transitioned, so they're linked to old pages that don't work anymore. Or sometimes they have 2 or 3 Brightwave material links, 2 or 3 Pearson links from the previous courses that they copied over. And then the quick replies, it's just nice to, students want to see a reply from from the instructors. Okay. And so the best practices, of course, is to use modules as the main hub. And as you can see on the right, I have an example. This is from Kathy's, templates that she's created for us. And it's something that I follow in some of my courses as well, is where I have my content and I have my formative and summative assessments there. And it's all laid out within weeks in modules. And that way the students know that which way to go. And I always tell my students, I'm like, go through modules. I know that you guys like to go to the to-do list. I know you like to go to the assignments and just look to see what you have to do. But if you follow the modules, everything's on there. And it's not just to do tedious work, it just works better for them, and it works better for us as well, because they get to see the content, they get to see the overviews, and then they can start working on their assignments, and they should have less trouble doing so. The Start Here page with syllabus and navigation guides, right? I've seen, there is a student that I encountered the other day, and I was asking him some questions about his experience with Canvas. And he's like, I don't have any classes on Canvas. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have any classes on Canvas? He's like, no, like, look. And he showed me his Canvas dashboard and he had no classes. And I was like, I'm like, how are you doing your work? He's like, oh, my classes are in person. And he's all like, so I was like, okay. Of course, it's not cool to hear that. It's not great to hear that. And so, of course, I had to, call their department chair and then be like, hey, we do have a policy or a thing in place that says You at minimum have to have a start page. You at minimum have to have the syllabus in there. You at minimum have to have a form of communication there. And and it's just sad seeing that stuff. Weekly announcements. I do weekly announcements every week, letting them know what module they're working on. If it's a long module, then I'll go ahead and do like a second part of it as well. Just kind of going over like, hey guys, how are you? This is the tips and tricks for this module. This is where you're going to be going over. Don't forget these activities. Don't forget these assignments. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Clear submission instructions is another thing, right? I've seen it where they don't really have a grading criteria. They don't have rubrics or nothing like that. It just says, for example, I need you to write a paper on educational technology. But again, what does that mean? What are they supposed to? Is it a argumentative essay? Is it this type of essay? And what is the grading criteria? What's out there? And so I've seen it a lot where they just don't know what they're supposed to be submitting, and they'll come here to the tutoring center. I'm embedded in the tutoring center, and they'll ask the tutors like, I don't get it, I don't know what it's supposed to do. And sometimes, of course, the students are probably just not reading everything properly, but sometimes we look at these classes and we're like, oh wow, we don't even know what you're supposed to do, which is baffling, right? And then again, consistent visible grading. Turnaround time is very important for students, right? They want to know how they're doing. They should know how they're doing in case they need to improve, in case they need to do a little bit better. This is just some best practices that we can all do to enhance our learning experience for them. And of course, you have support here. You have faculty resources, online quality assurance, right? We provide guidance, we'll do checklist reviews with you, and we'll make sure that you're meeting all the expectations to give a good quality course online and in hybrid and in person as well. Academic Technology is our Canvas administrators. They not only administrate Canvas, but they offer a lot of plethora of trainings. They'll troubleshoot with you. They have a lot of tools that you can use. And of course, they're there to help us. And they're available to us for the most time of the week through Zoom. They're always there and eager to help us. Every time I have a difficult problem, I jump online with them. They'll help me out through anything that I need to do. And it just works out. It's really good, and they're very helpful. So definitely use Academic Technology. And of course, I'm here myself as well with VLET. I'm here to help you with on-hand training for students, Canvas support, and instructional design. My background is in instructional design. So I am a Quality Matters peer reviewer, and I do belong to Kathy's team as well. So if you have any trouble or you want to learn something new, or you just want to, brainstorm on some ideas, please feel free to contact me. I'm here to help you. I know that Title III, I know that they're short on time, but they do have Mark Stewart there that's an instructional technologist that could also help you and jump inside your courses. And he has access to see your courses, and something that I don't. And he can probably let you know if there's an issue on your end or on the student's end. And of course, your department chairs are the go-to for anything big. They're going to give you the guidance, they're going to give you the consistency across all the courses, and they will connect you to other peers that potentially can help you out as well. So now we're in the Q&A. Is there any questions or anything that stood out to you all that maybe you want me to go over, or just want to have a deeper conversation in?
I just noticed, the fact that the students say they have to figure it out on their own. That's really upsetting, especially with, I don't know, I guess every professor and everyone out there does offer the same as I do, having them feel at home and feel free to ask questions and everything, because I have students ask me these questions all the time when the semester starts. And I take care of them right from the beginning. But the fact that it was like 80% of them take care of it themselves, that's not good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely not good. And then and it could be a plethora of things. It could be them not being comfortable asking for help. It could be them not knowing that there is help out there, not knowing where to go. It could also be other instructors that are just not as nice, or not being there as much for them. So they probably feel like, oh, maybe I can't go to him. But even then, even going to me, even going to their peers themselves, that was baffling. It's like, why aren't you at least asking your other colleagues that are in your course? That's one of the things that I tell students all the time. It's like, hey, this thing isn't working. Then I'll ask them, do you know if anyone else is running to the same issue? I'm like, because if a lot of people are running to the same issue, then it tells me that it might be something on the instructor side. I'm like, but if it's falling under you, and only you, and you're the only one that's kind of, then maybe it's something that we're just doing wrong, and let's go ahead and look into that.
Now, the other issue that I saw was the fact that after 4 years that they don't know that they have to have a Canvas course set up for each of these things. That's also not a good sign. That's really bad. Sometimes I've seen it with part-timers, and that's just because they don't have the people with the oversight on them, not to tell them what to do. And I've got all of my part-timers all straightened out on that, but the fact is, if a student can't go in there and have a similar Canvas course for every single course, it is going to be hard for them to follow.
Absolutely, absolutely, and then that's why we're trying to, enforce these templates, right? And it's not just to like, hey, we're not trying to tell you how to teach. We're just trying to make sure that it's consistent across the board, and that we're all on the same page. So again, the students can focus on the content and not have to worry so much on the navigation part of the course, or even getting into the course.
Emanuel, could you talk a little bit more, elaborate a little bit more when so many of them were having trouble on a mobile device. Did they get into specifics about what device they were using and the specific areas that were the most problematic?
Absolutely. So one of the biggest things that I see here often is the books. The books and the iPads and Canvas app, they do not like each other. They do not work well with each other. So academic technology, Canvas itself has a statement there too that says that it's best not to use the Canvas app when you're trying to open these third publisher books such as McGraw-Hill, Pearson, WebAssign, all of those. There is ways to do it, and what I tell students is that if you are going to use your iPad, delete the Canvas app and go ahead and log in through Google Chrome as if you're going in through MyMSU, open up Canvas that way, because then it gives you more options to work with it better. And then you do have to disable the pop-ups. Apple tries to stop the pop-ups, of course, as a safety thing, but all our third-party publishers use pop-ups to open their materials. So we have to disable that, and then in some cases disable third-party cookies in order for it to work properly. But again, unless they already have this information, unless they already know some of this, they're going to fall into that complication over and over again. And of course, and if the instructor doesn't take the time to learn some of these things, he's going to go based off that one student that was able to figure it out. He's like, well, so-and-so figured it out, so why, it's on you. And so those are some of the biggest things. The lockdown browser is another thing with the iPads. It does work, but it works in a funny way. You do have to download the lockdown browser app. You do have to open up the app itself, have to have every other window out, and then you can log into Canvas that way, and then find the assignment to do the quiz on. Then it works, but it's a very tedious process for some students to do that. So I do always recommend that if they have to do anything on lockdown browser, to please use a computer, and if they don't have one, to come into our centers here at the ARC, the computer lab, or the library. We all have lockdown browsers installed in our computers, and we have cameras in case they need to have a camera on. But the mobile devices, of course, there's some students that try to do all their work on their phone, and I let them know right away. I'm like, the phone works great to look at your to-do list, maybe send some discussion posts and the inbox chat. That's it. Other than that, you shouldn't be doing full-blown assignments on a phone. And if you're using an iPad, it's better to use the web browser version than to use the app itself.
The other issue that I always have every semester, the first week, is that students like to work on the iPads and they have the Safari, and they're not working through Chrome or Firefox. And if you don't use those two, it doesn't work with MyLab at all.
No,
they can't open the assignment, so they always get frustrated. So I catch them on that the very first couple of days to make sure that they know they have to download Chrome or Firefox in order to access it correctly.
Absolutely, and it's something that even the computer labs have posted on their signage, like, hey, don't use Safari. And I tell students, I'm like, Safari just doesn't work well with some of these applications. It's just, what's it called? Sometimes they clash and they won't let it open for some reason. Adelina?
So one of the things that I struggle quite a bit is getting the students to register their device so that they can use the DACC network, right? The internet. And because we do a lot of activities in the class, when they use the DACC guest, they'll tell me, oh, I didn't, get to it, and then the time expires. And I really am saying this like almost throughout the entire semester, because I'm not sure from their end what's their hesitation to just register their device, and so that they can, be able to use the network that we have, the hub inside the classrooms. So that is a challenge that I'm not, I'd like somehow to be addressed with students when they get their iPads, at least the ones that get them, right?
Yes. And actually, Adelina, so we just recently got it switched over. They no longer have to register the devices anymore. Now it's a straightforward to DACC and MSU. They just have to put their NMSU username, not the whole email, just the username. And then they put their NMSU password for the password, and it'll work. But I still see it, even though I've told some students, I'm like, hey, use DACC and MSU. Don't use the guest, because the guest acts wonky sometimes. So it's better to just use the actual DACC and MSU, and it's just very faster. And but even then, we can tell them so many times, and they'll still won't do it because they think it's like an extra hassle because they have that experience from the past. But just recently, maybe 6 months ago, Gerald and his team were able to change it where they no longer have to go through NetReg. They can just go ahead and log into the DACC and MSU Wi-Fi. And what I tell students to sell this to them is that, this Wi-Fi is so fast that you can play Fortnite and Warzone and you'll have no glitching whatsoever. And then they get all excited.
Okay, I'm glad to know that, because I didn't know, so now I can just tell them just to log in. Hopefully that'll help with most of it.
Absolutely. John, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much. Listen, as you know, one of the big issues in my courses is the textbook. And so there continues to be a vacillating sort of unknown gray area for students in the textbook. And so usually I wait about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks before I have their first assignments due so they can get that done. And so this semester has seemed to be much more problematic than others in the past. Students not getting the emails they're supposed to with their access code. And I do things like I create videos and make screenshots of the processes for them to go through. But then, as we all know, sometimes students just don't read things, and so that's where we get caught up. And then it's way after the fact. They're like trying to submit assignments. Where do I access the book? And, even just this week, I met with a couple of students and, they're nine assignments behind now. And so that's one of the issues. That's one of the major issues I encounter, is just the way they go through the process for the book. And it might be that the publisher of my book is just more difficult. I don't know. But that's one thing I struggle with is, the changes in the bookstore that happen and the way they access their books. So
yes, and I think go ahead.
Yeah, and so I don't, that's one thing I still struggle with at the very beginnings of the semester, and I know students do too. And like we saw in the graph you put up, they don't like to reach out, and then they wonder when the due dates pass and they have zeros. They're like, how come I got this? I can't access the book, or I thought I was registered, or I'm waiting for the email. And so that's one of my struggles in my end, particularly at the beginning of the semesters.
Absolutely. And it's something, of course, KHP content, that's what you use, right? If I'm not mistaken. Right. That one is a little bit more tedious than to use, like, let's say McGraw-Hill or one of these other publishers. And you're absolutely right. This change that fall it just did with My Fault Materials and what they're trying to do is great in theory, but of course it always causes problems when they make changes from one semester to the next. And so hopefully with time that will get better, of course. But what can we do on our end to kind of help the students? And you're already doing a lot of it, right? Doing the screenshots, sending that information. I guess it would just be to double down. This is why Navigate alerts are very important right off the bat, right off the first week. Even though people think, oh, that's a little bit too soon, but you as instructors, you're able to see the patterns, and you can kind of see like, oh, okay, maybe I should intervene now before it gets to something a little bit crazier later on, to help out the student. And of course, you know, in case the class isn't for them, they have that decision to get removed, get on to another one before it becomes later and they're not able to do that, right? But of course, the books is one of the biggest things, because not everyone has the same publisher, not everyone has the same books, and some of them get access a little bit of different ways, right? So finding ways to make it easier for the students is always crucial. But of course, just like you stated, we can give them everything, but at the end of the day, it's up to them to actually go through that process as well. Yes. Maida.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I was wondering, you know, about the students who are not reaching out. Is there, I know this generation of students tends to be more like they want to text somebody, right? They want to chat with somebody. They don't want to talk on the phone. They don't want to send an email. Is it possible to have an option like that for them to at least reach out initially? I know you can't really troubleshoot over text. I mean, I'm sure that would be very difficult, but I'm wondering, like, is there a way to add that option somehow for them where they can, they do email me quite a bit, but I'm sure I'm losing at least some of them who are just lost, and until I have to email them and go, hey, what's going on? You're not doing your quizzes, right? Or whatever it is. Yeah, I was just wondering, because I'm like, that's a huge number of students, and I'm sure some of that might just be professors who maybe are not as accessible, right, as others. But I'm also just wondering, maybe that's for them that, you know, the email is just, oh no, you know, or oh my God, talking on the phone, right? Forget about that. I'd rather just figure this out by myself. So I was just curious, like, is that would that ever be a possible option? Like, so a number they could text and then kind of just to engage them and then be able to go, okay, I need you to jump on Zoom for me or on the phone, right? Because I actually can't help you troubleshoot further than this, right, on the phone.
So it's definitely a possibility. I think it's something that we can definitely explore, right? I do have a chat bot on my website, but of course, this is something different, right? The website's just to kind of give them some resources and things like that from going on from DACC, but this is dedicated to the students, right? With student tech help. So it is something that we can definitely explore, and that's a great idea, actually. So I'm actually going to go ahead and look into that, because it would be nice to kind of do like a little drop-in, right? Kind of mimic what academic technology has, which they have open lab hours and students can just drop in on the Zoom. But in this case, it would probably be like somewhere they can just send a quick message, and then depending on how big the issue, they can probably drop on a Zoom at the moment, or we can schedule for something later on. Because you're right, you're absolutely right, especially on the weekends, because most of the students, they're part of the 11:59 crew, right? They're waiting on Sunday to turn in all their things, and that's when they find the struggles, because they waited until Sunday. And then of course, most of us are unavailable during those days, right? And so what can we do to help them in the meantime? So of course, we work with AI a lot, and this might be one of those areas where we can utilize AI with some basic troubleshooting with Canvas or some of the assignments, maybe linking them to some videos where they can kind of problem solve quickly on their own. And if it becomes a bigger issue, it can send me an alert, and then that way I know that I can contact them or have them drop into a Zoom at that moment. But that's a great point. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I just bring something up that maybe the whole OQA team can kind of reflect on this and see how they can make faculty more aware. One of the things that is a challenge in my course, since I have students, they have to submit their assignments through the assignment kind of portal, right? But some of them will email me stuff, or they'll attach it to the comments. And I use Turnitin, so they do kind of have to submit it. But a lot of these students tell me, well, I'm able to email it in my other class. And quite frankly, for me, that would just be a nightmare. Trying to, like, if I missed that email, I don't know how that works for other faculty, and and I certainly don't want to overstep any boundary with another faculty how they do their course. But it does create a challenge when a student says, "Oh, I'm able to do it in another class," and trying to get them to understand, well, this is a different class, it's a different setup. There's different reasons why you're being asked to do it this way, and I'm not sure if that really can be addressed or not. That doesn't kind of step in the faculty and how they run their courses.
If I could address that, Adelina, I think the worst class I've ever seen at DACC, and it's been several years, the entire class was done through the announcements tool. The entire course.
That's painful.
And I was floored. And it was part-timer. And I did ask her, I was asked to look at it by her department chair, because the department chair didn't want to overstep. We're so very delicate and careful with each other. And I think that that's warranted, because when I did speak with her, she just didn't know. And I think what it comes down to is there are a large amount of faculty who don't know what they don't know. I think there are faculty who do know, and they're just satisfied with how they're doing it. But there are a lot of faculty who don't know what they don't know. And we think that it's usually always adjunct, and I think it's probably for the most part is, but there are some full-timers as well. And so, I think that, things like what Emanuel's doing here, and the fact that you all came, you're not the ones that we're concerned about, because you're the ones saying, I want to know and I want to do the best I can. Trying to reach those outliers it's hard, because what we're doing, we don't have supervision over them, and the people who do have supervision over them have their vast reasons. And so I was just thinking, Emanuel, I'd like to email all the deans and ask them if you can come and make this presentation in a division meeting. We just need to, I think what we need to do, or what I need to do, is try harder to immerse messaging to as many faculty as we can, rather than making it all voluntary and optional, because the ones that we always see, and the ones that we never see. And so if we can just get placed in front of them somehow, some way, to provide this information, that's what we need to do. So if you have any brilliant ideas on how to do that, please tell us. Otherwise, I'm just going to start trying to get more creative in how we can do this, because I think there's faculty who would be very willing to make changes and updates if they could just, if we could just get the information in front of them.
One thing that I hear from faculty is you want to encourage the student to just submit the work, right? And I think maybe the wrong messaging is being delivered to the student in trying to get them to submit the work, even if they just end up sending it as an email, right? So I think that maybe that messaging to the faculty, yes, we're doing everything we can to help the student and make sure that they turn in work. However, it's still to their benefit that the work be through the submit portal. That's going to be the best thing for them than sending it over an email or attaching things.
Then it gets into accreditation issue. That's correspondence classes. When you're doing it that way, it looks troubling to if it was looked at by an accreditor. So it's there's a whole nother concern there if class is being conducted through email. that gets into real issues rather than an instructor trying to be flexible. This now becomes an accreditation topic.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adelina.
Thank you, guys.
Mayra, I think you have your hand up.
Yeah, so I know at the beginning of the semester we do, at least in our division, we do like a part-time faculty convocation. So a place like that would be a great place for this presentation, I think, just to at least get the information out there to most of the part-time faculty, I guess. I know some of them already know this, but you're right. I mean, the ones who show up to the workshops are probably the same people who show up to the workshops. But yeah, so I don't know if that would be a place, and not just the full-time division meetings, right, which are just full-time faculty and rarely part-time. But yeah, some place like that where the part-timers already gathered to get information about other topics.
Yes, good idea, Mayra.
Yes, and then this semester, since I'm a part-time faculty, I also teach on the side. I got invited to the part-time convocation, right? And so, what's it called? Dr. Grant was there, Concepcion Miller was there, and a few other department chairs were there. And so they when they saw me, they're like, "Emanuel, can you come into my meeting real quick and just let them all know about yourself?" And I did, but it was only a few of them, right? So maybe actually planning it out and being like, "Hey, go, because this one person's going to go and go over some things with you for best practices for your students." Because I've had it too, where the students will come. I had a work study that works for me, and she's all like, "Hey, I was talking to the teacher, and a student came and was talking with him too, and he was the student was inquiring about some type of help, and that the instructor told him, oh, we don't have that here." And my work study is like, "Wait a second, yes we do. Like, I work for him. Like, we have this and this and that." And he's like, "What, really?" And they didn't know. And they've been here for like 5, 6, 7 years and whatnot. And it's like, well, even before me, there was someone else. So how are you not aware of this? And of course, it's something that we do need to bring to their attention. And I think that's a great idea, to go to the department meetings with their part-timers, and as well with the division meetings with their part-timers as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. John.
Sorry. So one thing I do at the very beginning of the semester is I send an email, a welcome email, and I also include that in announcements, and I say all of class communication has to be done via Canvas. So, for example, if a student sends me an email that has to do with the class, I ask them very quickly, please resend this to me in Canvas, so that we can keep, our running dialogue, and we can both keep up where we're at. But then, again, we encounter the issue with students not reading the information. It's very clear in the syllabus that all of our assignments are only done through Canvas. And so I do encounter that a lot myself, where students will email me, and then I'm like, please shoot the same message to me on Canvas, because that's our communication tool for the class. So I don't know if that would help anyone, but that's what I do, and mostly it helps. But again, they have to read, that's.
Right. No, that's great. Thank you for sharing that.
Mayra, again.
Sorry, I had to give a quick shout out. So Lizanne, I know she worked with somebody to make a resources module. I don't remember which department it was.
I think I made it for the it goes over academic support, it goes over the mental health, and
yes, yeah. Oh, good. Thank
yes.
you. Well, good. You're the person I should tell this to then. I put it on my classes, and I had a student write me an email, and she said that she was very grateful that she didn't even know about a lot of the resources, that she'd been here a long time, and I'm sure like they get a lot of information when they're onboarded as students, but for some reason it hadn't soak through, I guess. And so when she did the quiz, right, and I give them multiple tries. I was like, the point is, what you have available. But she said, thank you so much, I'm so grateful that you did this. And I said, well, I didn't do it, I can't take the credit. But so apparently that at least one student found it extremely useful, and she said, I learned so much in this module, thank you so much. And she had to write me an email just to let me know. So I'm putting it in all my courses, and I think that's a really good way to get the information out there, because I'm making it a required module, and it's worth like 10 points in my class, but I'm like, still, right? They have to look at the information, and yeah, I mean, like the instructors sometimes don't know, but at least maybe the students will know if the instructor doesn't.
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Lizanne did reach out to us during the summer, and she said, hey, like, I really want like a module that kind of goes over like some of the services that we have here. So I was going to build her a whole student services one, and she's like, no. It's like, I just want to touch on these things right here. And so working with her, working with other departments, I was able to create that module, and it's available to everyone. If you go to the Commons, it's DACC Humanities and Social Sciences, and you'll right away see it, or you can just type in my name, Emanuel Medina, and it'll come out right away. And you guys can put it inside your courses. Because it's a great resource. It goes over academic support, where help with the tutoring center, help with myself, help with the computer labs, the library. It goes over our Comfort Casita for food insecurity. It goes over for mental health awareness and where they can receive some of that help. And not only that, it connects also to Mary Ulrich's Workforce Center in case they need help with career planning, with small business development, and all that good stuff. Things that our students are thinking about sometime through the mid of the semester, right? They're working on an assignment, and maybe they're not doing so well, so some of that stuff might help them with that. Or maybe they're already near the end and they want to know the next steps, so connecting them to the workforce and connecting them to career services is all available there for them. So thank you, Maida, for bringing that up.
I think we need to market those more, Emanuel. You know, that what you all did and what Cat Million did with the library and with workforce, I think those modules need to be marketed more, because they're so good, so helpful, so valuable, and there's just so many faculty who don't know about them.
Absolutely. I think that's another thing that we could definitely do with these division meetings, letting them know like, hey, and we also have these resources out there for you to not only just tell you, give you some best practice tips, but also to give you something that you can use in your classes as well. Yes. Noemi, do you have any questions, or Jose, do you guys have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay.
No questions. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, guys, that was pretty much it. Hopefully this was good information for you all. Hopefully you guys can use some of these tips that we gave out. Maybe not for yourself, like Kathy said, you guys are the ones here, so that means that you guys do care. That means that you guys are already probably doing some of this work already. But if you encounter any of your faculty, any of your other peers that might need some help, please send them my way, send them to Kathy, let them know that we're here to help them out. And it's not to tell them how to do their job or anything like that. It's just to make sure that everything is consistent and cohesive, and that everything is there to support their students, right? Because at the end of the day, this is what we're here for. We're here to support our students, and this is going to tie into that persistence, to that graduation rate, right? To that transfer rate. We want those numbers not only for ourselves, but for them as well, because we want them to succeed. And this is one way that we can do that.
Thank you so much, Emanuel. This was excellent.
Absolutely.
Yeah, lots of great information. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Have a good weekend. I'll email you this recording. I'm going to email it out to everyone who registered, so you'll get it and you'll have it if you want to refer back to anything. So thank you all for coming. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.